With the mind, it's just the same. And in fact, we can use the same metaphor of doing our laundry when we're talking about doing our meditation as well.
They take the form of a lotus that again aims to represent the heart.
The bright light in the morning will clear all away the tension.
Whose sounds could be heard during every Buddhist ceremony, and whose white reflection in the water reflected the purity of the Dharma.
Sawadee-ka. My name is Shananpon Rotjan. Welcome to the 4th edition of Meditation for All, a fact-filled program designed to promote value living by integrating meditation and universal virtues into our lives. In the 4th edition of our series, entitled Basic Meditation for Beginners, in addition to our regular schedule, which includes a lecture by Venerable Nicholas Thanissaro, Buddhist Tradition in Action, a hands-on meditation experience by Venerable Somsak Biyasilo, and tour of the temple, there is an introduction of education on inner peace for humanity today under the scheme of Dhammakaya training, presented by an interview of the participants. But first, let's meet Venerable Nicholas Thanissaro, who explained how people like you and I can make meditation a part of our daily activities without spending extra time and energy.
Welcome back to our mini-series on meditation for beginners. Last week, we have already looked at some of the special approaches which we need to have to study meditation, and how to cultivate these to make the maximum progress in our meditation. This week, we're going to be looking a little bit further about how to integrate meditation into our daily routine. Last week, we talked a little bit about the advantage of pretending that we are a child again when we come to meditation, rather than being an adult or a scientist who tend to have a lot of questions on their minds. If we can manage to reduce the questions in our mind, then this will help us more and more to have a calm mind. If we do have questions coming up in our mind, sometimes it's better if we are able to put those questions on one side until our meditation's finished, and only then perhaps to ask someone who is more knowledgeable than ourselves about those questions to settle our doubts. Once there was a parable of a man who had been shot by an arrow, a poison arrow at that, and instead of allowing them to pull the arrow out, the man had many questions about who had shot the arrow, what the arrow was made of, what sort of bow it had been used to shoot the arrow. As the man was waiting for the answers to all those questions, he was gradually dying from all the poison in the arrow. Better that he would pull the arrow out immediately and talk about the questions later. It's much the same thing with our meditation. We need to get down to the practice of our meditation, and that will clear up the doubt sometimes by itself. Avoiding the questions and leaving them for later will help us to have a calm mind to meditate better. When we come to meditating, it's rather like all the things which we would like to gain from our mind are in fact already there. But what we need to do is to try to remove all the other extraneous rubbish in our mind which are covering up and hiding the true qualities of the mind. In this sense, it's rather like doing our laundry, because the clothes we have are already clean, bright, nice colors, but the fact that they're dirty means that they don't look nice anymore. Thus, when we do our laundry, it's rather like moving all the extraneous rubbish from the clothes so that we're left with just the part which we really need. With the mind, it's just the same. And in fact, we can use the same metaphor of doing our laundry when we're talking about doing our meditation as well. It's rather like washing a shirt. I don't know if any of the viewers out there have been washing their shirt by hand recently, but if you've ever done that, you know that there are certain things to remember when you're washing your shirt by hand. One of the most important things to remember is that you don't have to wash the whole shirt, but you have to wash the part which really matters, which normally for a shirt that would be under the armpits or on the cuffs. These are the points which get the dirtiest, so they need special attention when we are doing our laundry. The second thing about a shirt is when we're washing it, then we may need to scrub it a certain amount of times to get any results. Supposing you need to scrub your shirt 200 times to get it clean, if you scrub it only 100 times, then your shirt will not be entirely clean. Last of all, if you overdo it, then sometimes you can end up with a rag instead of a shirt. If your shirt needs to be scrubbed 200 times on the collar and you scrub it 400 times, then you may find that it tears the collar and leaves your shirt unwearable. This gives us 3 principles for doing our laundry, which can also be applied to our meditation. Firstly, you need to do it in the right place. Secondly, you have to do enough of it to get you to the point of success. And thirdly, you need to do it only enough to get by and not to overdo it. With meditation, it's very much the same. Firstly, we need to know where to do our meditation in order to make it work. By where, we don't mean the location, but it means where we are going to be resting our mind. For meditation, this mostly means that it should be placing our mind at the center of the body, not outside the body, not in different parts of the body, but at the center of the body, 2 finger breadths above the navel, the point which you've heard about, I'm sure, from other parts in the program. If we can focus our mind here, then we can save ourselves a lot of time in meditation because the mind will become calm very quickly. The second thing which we need to remember about our meditation is we need to do enough of it to make a difference. It's rather like rubbing sticks together to get a fire. Supposing you need to rub sticks together 100 times in order to get a spark. If you rub the sticks together only 99 times and then go and have a cup of coffee, then you find that you can be there all day and you never will get fire out of your 2 sticks. With meditation, it's just the same. But the sort of minimum which is required to make some progress in meditation is that you meditate at least once a day. If you meditate only every second day, for example, then you find that your mind will go back to its own old habits again. The third principle which we should remember from the point of view of meditation is not to overdo it. Some people are very enthusiastic about meditation when they start. Some people are so enthusiastic that they forget to go to work, or maybe forget about the needs of their family. If you find that your family are beating on your door asking where their evening meal is going to come from every time you sit down to meditate, then maybe you need to put your everyday life in order before you start to do your meditation. If you do want to meditate all day, if you really do want to devote your life completely to meditation, maybe it would be better to become a monk like me, or perhaps a nun, in order that you can devote all your time to meditation and no one will criticize you for it. But from the point of view of meditation, although we can't have too much of a good thing, but you need to be able to integrate it into your everyday life and not to allow meditation to be the thing which is going to cause you to be blamed by others. So if you find a short period of time to meditate each day and gradually work upwards, then I think no one would blame you for that. And you will see that you can make progress in your meditation day by day. So what can we do to integrate meditation into our daily lives? The first thing I'd like to say is that meditation is not just about sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed. Meditation should be a part of our lives, something which we aim to perfect both with our eyes open and with our eyes closed. So the sort of peaceful feeling which we have in meditation should be something which we bring into our everyday life as a whole. And today I'd like to talk about some ways, and perhaps you can do this by integrating meditation into your daily life in every part possible. Supposing you get up in the morning. If you get up early, then maybe you can go and take a shower, do some light exercise, and then sit for meditation. If you're a working person, then maybe you have limited time in the morning. Maybe you wouldn't have as much time as you would like to make a really long meditation in the morning. But nonetheless, you can find 20 minutes to meditate in the morning, then get dressed and go and have your breakfast. As you're taking your shower, instead of just washing yourself with soap on the outside, you can think about your bright object inside your body at the same time that you're washing yourself on the outside. Why not? It doesn't take any extra effort to do that, but it does train yourself in your meditation even while you are doing other things. As you eat your food at breakfast time, instead of just eating your food and thinking about other things, why not imagine that each time you take a spoonful of food, instead of just being a mouthful of food going down your throat, maybe it can be a crystal ball or brightness, which is adding to the brightness in the center of your body as you're eating. After you finish your breakfast, maybe you're on the bus commuting to work, or maybe you're driving in the car or as a passenger in the car. If you're a passenger in the car, or if you are a passenger on the bus, then again on the way to work, even though there may be a traffic jam, you have a good opportunity again to find time to meditate as you are waiting in the crowds. If you're driving, some people have asked whether it's possible to meditate at the same time you're driving. Why not? You can hold a conversation while you're driving, so why not meditate while you're driving? But if you want to be sure, then maybe you can wait for the red light and then sit and calm your mind in meditation while you're waiting for the light to turn green. If you're at work in your office, then you can also try to maintain your meditation as much as possible. But that may be a challenge for you, because I'm sure there are many things to think about as you are in the office. Some of the things you come across may be problems which you have to solve. So, if you are coming across problems in your working life, why not close your eyes to think about them for meditation for a few moments, to try to settle out those problems in a more creative way. There's also a special hint, which is every 1 hour you may set your watch to beep in order to remind you to think of your center of your body for perhaps a minute of every hour, in order to try to maintain some of that precious meditation experience as you go through your day. Normally people find themselves tired by their time spent at work, but if you manage to maintain your meditation, I think you'll find that you don't get so involved with the problems, but yet you can use a more creative wisdom from inside to apply to the problems which come up in your working life. Normally by the time people get home in the evening, they'll be quite tired. If you're tired, you may find that even if you do try to meditate, you may not find that your meditation goes very well. Normally it's better to freshen up, maybe take an evening meal, to relax slightly in front of the television, maybe thinking of the meditation in the advertising breaks. Only later, when you feel relaxed and ready, should you find time to meditate in the evening. And the evening is time when you have more time for yourself. As you meditate in the evening, instead of setting a fixed time for your meditation, try meditating until you find that your mind gets to the stage of progress which you reached the last time you meditated. If your mind is not yet clear, then perhaps give your meditation a little bit of extra time so that you can make sure that you have progress each and every time you meditate. And before you go to bed, don't forget that you shouldn't neglect your meditation even at the time when you're going to sleep. Before you close your eyes, you should sit for meditation first, making sure your mind is firmly centered at the center of your body. Only then should you lie down, maintaining your mind at the center of the body as you allow yourself to fall to sleep. If you can do all of these suggestions which I've mentioned, then you find that your everyday life will aid you instead of being the thing which hinders you in your meditation practice. If you can do this each and every day, then when you come to meditate, you find that you're able to make progress without end. So why not try some of these things, if you find they're practical, when you are integrating meditation into your everyday life? Well, already on this program today we've said a lot of nasty things about scientists, but one thing which is very good about science is the detail in which scientists observe the thing under observation. And we can learn something about this too when we come to our meditation. One thing which is very beneficial for those who are studying meditation is to keep notes or a diary of their meditation experience. This is a way to help you to build up your skills in self-observation, so that you're not going to be reliant on a teacher all your life, but you can learn to be a teacher to yourself in meditation. Don't worry, you're not writing down the notes for other people to read, but they should be notes which you're writing down as a way for you to be able to remember and to spot the changes which are taking place in your meditation. Don't write a lot, but try to get to the main points in your meditation as you are writing them down. Maybe the quality, the feeling of your meditation. These are some of the things which you can write down in your meditation. If you find that you are having questions coming up in your meditation, why not write them down so that you can remember them in order to refer them to someone else later on. If we are able to keep a diary on a regular basis, what we'll find that this will renew our inspiration each time we come to meditate. It will help us to have an overview of our progress in meditation, and it will help us to be accountable so that we will sit for meditation each and every day. Otherwise we'll have a blank page in our diary, and we wouldn't like that. And it helps us to give preciousness to our passing experience as well. Some of the best sellers on the market today are known as a meditator's diary. And who knows, if you write down your experiences very well, you may have a bestseller on your hands as well. So in summary, if you keep a meditation diary, you can say that it will help to raise our awareness as to our own meditation progress. Sometimes we don't see the progress from day to day, but we will see it over the course of a week if we keep our notes properly. At first you might not think you're making any progress at all, but once you look back over your diary, you start to see that in fact your meditation is starting to go in a very positive direction indeed. So this week we've been looking at some of the special approaches which are necessary for a study of meditation. We've also looked at some of the ways in which we can integrate meditation into our daily life as well. Next week we're going to be looking a little bit more about the coarse tuning and the fine tuning which are necessary for our meditation progress. But in the meantime, I'd like to encourage you, as always, to try a little bit of meditation each day. Try to integrate it also into your working life, your family life, so that meditation is a part of yourself the whole day long. Try to take note of your meditation experiences in a diary. And in the meantime, maintain your good health, keep your anxieties low throughout the week, and I'll see you again next week.
Belief instilled through emotion is short-lived, but respect earned through virtue is deep-seated. In the next session of Meditation for All, we will show you how people in Buddhist community like Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Burma greet each other, and what the gesture means beyond the manifesting respect and acceptance. Stay tuned.
In the belief system of ancient India, the lotus symbolizes one's true heart. Also, they believed that giving a gift of a lotus was equivalent to giving one's heart. When both hands are joined in a gesture of prayer, they take the form of a lotus that again aims to represent the heart. In a Buddhist country, people greet one another by putting their hands together, palm to palm, to form the shape of a lotus, and lifting them up to the level of the mid-chest. In this touching manner, the real heart is revealed in the atmosphere of respect and love, as a way to accept one another's role and to treat others in the appropriate way. This is how, in Oriental society, love, respect, and compassion can be made into practical virtues. How kindness can progress alongside technology and modernization. This is the culture of Buddhism. offers the peace and respect to complement modernization. Take 2.
If we have developed our minds in beneficial ways, then our problems and difficulties can cease to be problems and difficulties. Instead, we can view them as opportunities to grow in understanding. One story that may illustrate this point is about a manager of a large and famous hotel. The hotel and the staff were noted for their outstanding service. The manager was being interviewed once and was asked by the reporter, "What do you do when you have problems?" The manager replied, "Here at this hotel, we have only challenges." With development of the mind, each and every one of us can turn our problems into challenges. This is the best method of dealing with the unsatisfying aspects of life, to develop our minds in beneficial ways. And the effective tool for that is meditation practice. Join us next.
So welcome you back everyone to the meditation session again. This is the 4th time we meet and hope you enjoy meditation by yourself so far. Last time we talked about the hub of life, the hub of the wheel of peace. The physical organs like the head, the arms and the legs, for example, they are just the wheel, but the really core center is the hub of life, and that is where we focus our mind in meditation inside the hub, which is the center of the body. Our Oriental philosophy says a lot about good balancing of nature, good balancing of life, and meditation is the best way to keep balance of life, both physical and mental. And also it implies very clearly in our meditation that we focus a lot on the center point, and the center is the most balancing point in our life. For newcomers, don't worry, just check your chair. If you don't want to sit in lotus position like I am doing now, or if you prefer a nice corner in your room with your cushion, your sofa, but keep your back upright to prevent it from the pain. So, but for more frequent meditators, by now you can use a small pillow to support you on the floor, and you can sit just similar to the Buddha image. Now let's start meditation in practice. Always we close our eyes gently. Close in a soft manner. Don't force the eyes shut. Just do them softly. Make sure the entire body is at ease, free from stress, like we are now soaked by bright early morning sunlight. The bright light in the morning will clear all away the tension, leaving our body soaked in relaxation and peace. we feel more and more relaxed by the way. The process of relaxing will go on automatically. We'll get more relaxed little by little and naturally. To remind the center point, we think of the turning point of our breathing. With the in-breath, there is a turning point in the center of the abdomen. This is the axis of life. It is also the gateway to get away from troubles of life. If we have troubles, it means we lose balance. But the center here, right in the center of the abdomen, is in perfect balance. So this is the gateway to get away from all the worries and imperfections. To start with, in the center, with the mark of the shining star, our mind enters the center automatically. The center of the body is shining like a bright star. Upon the greeting, the bright star, it greets back with a brighter light. We could welcome more and more millions of stars to come into our center of the body. The center of the abdomen could be like dark night sky, containing millions of stars, millions of glowing, brilliant stars, shining all together at one place, the center of the body. It doesn't matter how many stars we have. Sometimes we have 0 stars. Sometimes we have uncountable stars. Just follow your heart by not forcing the mind to work in the way we want. Let the mind glow with the number of the stars, glow together as one, shining naturally inside the body. The existence at the center is really, really important. When we are fully relaxed, the mind automatically stays at the center. It exists in the center. So we have got two parts together. The first thing is full relaxation, and the second is the existence at the center. So we are now aligned in the center, and then we are fully relaxed. Both will make a perfect balance right in the center of your own body. So we stay perfect in terms of balance and bright light from any number of stars, shining aglow, all together, packed up at the center. So we are the observer of the bright center. Keep reminding of the mind at the center. Make sure the awareness of the mind exists right at the center. Every time we are here, we maintain perfect balance of life, physical and mental. If we don't want to lose balance of life by any means, we have to remember this point. This center point maintains perfect balance of life. That is why this point is called the gateway of getting away from troubles. So keep doing this in everyday life, whether your eyes are closed or open. Maintain the awareness of the mind at this gateway any time of the day. Every activity you do, every function you perform, and balance will be restored. Let's share this perfect balance to the world by expanding like a radiation of the sun. Star is turning to the sun in the center, expanding automatically in a bigger and bigger sphere, expanding, covering the whole planet Earth with the light of peace, the light of good wishes and happiness. Let's wish that the world will get back its lost balance, and perfect balance could be restored by means of meditation.
Most problems in the world can be traced back to the habits of the people inhabiting the world, the things which we do, say, and think until having become used to it. These habits can be either good or bad. Supposing that you have good habits, the things which you do, say, and think again and again will be those that would bring you happiness in life, especially the habit of being responsible for human dignity on a personal level, human dignity of others in society, and fair economy. What we would like to introduce to you today is a training that is called Dhammadayada Ordination Scheme. It includes Buddhist teachings that were made relevant to the needs of young men in Thai society. This activity is rooted in the Thai tradition that when a man reaches the age of 20, he takes temporary ordination as a Buddhist monk for a period in order to learn spiritual values firsthand. This course comprises 2 months of intense study of inner peace education. Participants study and practice spiritual values, incorporated into their daily routine to make sure that these improved habits are properly instilled, and that they would survive the transfer back to daily life when they return to their lives. Please join Vera in the following interview with Mr. Richard Esposito, one of the participants, to learn more.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Welcome to today's special program on the International Dhammadayada Ordination Program. Today with us we have Richard Esposito, an Italian-American originally from Brooklyn, New York, and who now resides in Thailand. Please welcome Richard.
Thank you very much, Em, for having me today.
So to start off, I'd like to ask, why did you decide to ordain as a Buddhist monk? What prompted you to ordain for 3 months?
It's a very good
For
question.
1 month, was it?
It's approximately a month and a half program. It's a very good question, and it's a long answer, but I'll give the short version. I had the opportunity many years ago during the Vietnam War to both meet and study Buddhism in Ubon, Thailand. It was a very unique experience, and the relationship I established with the abbot of that temple many years ago literally changed my life when I began to understand and have a working knowledge of the basic precepts of Buddhism. They made supreme sense to me. The law of karma, the concept of rebirth, the elements of the Buddhist faith that talk about morality and put the basic emphasis on progress in life and how we are all subject to the consequences of our actions. And Buddhism to me made supreme sense. As the years passed by, I thought that the most important thing to do that anyone can do is to take your faith up or your belief up a certain level, and ordination as a Buddhist monk does that. You become deeply involved with what Buddhism actually is by leaving your current lifestyle to enter the monkhood to understand the basics from the ground up, literally.
And so, with these experiences, coming from America, and with your experiences there, what did you do to prepare yourself for these differences as a layperson, or as a person who isn't a Buddhist monk, and as you ordained as a Buddhist monk?
That's a very good question. Another very good question. To prepare myself, I knew internally that in order for me to grow in the Buddhist faith, I would have to ordain. I would have to take that step to bring my knowledge and practice of the knowledge up another level, to kick it up a notch, as we would say in the West. After having gone through the International Dhammadayada Ordination Program, many of the things that I experienced there, I would pass along in this program to other people that are interested, young men that are interested in experiencing monkhood for the first time in their life. I went into the program not very well prepared as far as what to expect, but having been passed through the program and now a product of the program, I'm very well versed on what the program can provide for all those that are interested. So in the way of preparation, there was just basic preparation about the curriculum, what was to be expected and what I should expect, but it was very basic. Now, having finished the program, I'm in a better position to help others understand what they will be experiencing in the program. So to answer your question briefly, my preparation was very minimal going into the program. I just had a heart to learn, a burning desire to experience what Buddhism was at the monk's level, which is a great opportunity to do that.
And so now that you have ordained and been through the program, what advice would you give for those who are contemplating ordaining as a Buddhist monk?
There's a factor that everyone should consider when entering anything new for the first time. There are terms like culture shock, which perhaps is a little strong, but when one considers entering the Dhammadayata ordination program, one should prepare themselves by, number one, understanding that this is an opportunity to learn at a very particular level, a very special level. In philosophy, there's a branch of philosophy that's called epistemology. I know it's a big word, it sounds very big and complex. What epistemology means, what it studies, is how people learn. Some people learn, when you're a child, if you learn to play piano, you learn through repetition by repeating the scales over and over again. Some people learn through memorization. That's how actors hone their craft, memorizing lines. When you enter the International Dhammadayata program, the ordination program, you get to learn at probably the most basic and the most profound level of learning that can be experienced by anybody. You actually learn by example. You have teaching monks that are with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who not only teach you Dhamma from books, but they actually live the life. So the greatest way that one can learn is through example, and having the opportunity to live as a monk, to be taught by men who have dedicated their entire lives to the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, is the most profound experience anyone can really have in the way of life-changing experiences. So, or learning from a master, or learning by teaching monks is perhaps the most important way one can have a lasting effect. Teaching can have a lasting effect on anyone's life.
So for those who are going into this program for the first time, do you have any words of advice for preparation? Perhaps would you recommend for perhaps looking and learning about the Dharma, or about what they are to expect by following monks, or by what would you recommend?
I think the most important thing is to begin to prepare your mind. There are certain adjustments that people have to make, or that young men and men that enter the program should make. If anything of any value in this life is worth anything, there's a price to be paid. Anything free, they say the best things in life are free: the sunrise and the sunset and the ocean waves, and those are beautiful. But other things that are of great value cost something. So when you enter the program, there are certain elements that one should be prepared to experience. Certain elements called sacrifice. There are certain things that you will have to let go of. Your life will be made very simple. Your clothing, for example, is reduced down to a certain set of clothing that monks will wear. You have certain items of toiletry, that's all you will have, in the area of toothpaste, shaving equipment, so on and so forth, reduced down to basic minimums. So in preparation, one should understand that you're going to get your life down to very basic necessities. There'll be no distractions as a monk. You'll be able to focus your life on the most important things that will have the lasting value. For example, Dhamma, morality, concepts of ethics as taught by the Lord Buddha. So it's a mental adjustment you can begin doing now as you prepare for this program. There are areas that one might say are Spartan, which means you're given the basics of life to live with, And if you can begin to adjust your mind to that type of mindset, you're going to do well in the program. So there's sacrifice involved. I think it's very important to tell people that are going into the program that you're going to be challenged. And there are sayings that it's a great thing for a general to conquer a city, but it's even a greater thing for a person to control himself, to conquer his own self appetites, his own self-willfulness. Once you're able to do that, you're able to step up your life to a different level of consciousness and awareness. So living together as a group of monks, which is known in the Triple Gem concept as the Sangha, means you become less and less of an individual, and your focus is on your brother's welfare. So there's an element of sacrifice involved, so you should begin adjusting your mind now that it is a great opportunity to ordain as a Buddhist monk, but it also requires certain sacrifice and certain effort on your part.
For example, the 227 precepts that the monks have to uphold.
There are 227 precepts, and they are specifically designed for a monk's life.
Can you explain how these precepts work as a Buddhist monk?
That's another good question. You have a lot of good questions today, Anne. Taking control, taking command of one's life means a change of thought. Every action before it's committed, a thought occurs first. Ideas occur in our minds. We must learn to take thoughts captive. We have to take into captivity thoughts that enter our minds and understand the origin of these thoughts. Good actions are only the results of good deeds, are the only result from good thoughts. Whatever you think, say, or do becomes as an idea, comes to us as an idea first. The concept of the precept concept in Buddhism, whether it's the basic 5 precepts for the lay person or the 8 precepts or the 227 that a monks are required to fulfill, are all part of a discipline to take control of one's life and not to be swept around like the waves of the ocean. People continually, every day of our lives, people are swept around by wrong ideas, wrong thoughts. Like the waves of the sea, they go in, they go out. As a monk, your life is patterned after a certain discipline, which is the highest moral level one can strive to reach. So these precepts are guidelines that one is committed to follow. And you receive a benefit from this effort. Yes, it does require sacrifice. You no longer are self-willed. You focus your life in a direction that has a greater benefit, a far-reaching benefit, not only for yourself, but for those around you. So the precepts are necessary, they are rules, and they're necessary for one to follow to take command of one's own actions in their life.
And so you talked about some of the benefits. So for you, what made the deepest lasting impression as you ordained, and how did this affect your life as a result of ordaining?
I think it was Socrates that said many years ago, he said the unexamined life is not worth living. And a more profound statement I don't think has ever been made by anyone outside of the Buddhist faith. If you live your life without examining the reasons why you do the things you do, whether it's simple acts from day to day as we live, whether it's things that you do that have been created by habits, wrong habits, or whether it's something, predispositions that you're born with, whether it's cultural orientations or families, hand-down habits to sons, to daughters, fathers to sons, mothers to daughters, and so on. Without examining the reason why you do the things you do, you're condemned to repeat errors over and over again. So one of the greatest benefits I've received from ordination as a monk was taking the time out of a lifestyle to stop everything and examine my own life, using Buddhism as a mirror, using the precepts as a guideline. So one of the greatest benefits I have received, not only through the discipline of the Dhamma, but through meditation, is the understanding of the true nature of things I'm confronted with. And Buddhism teaches this in depth: right vision, right concentration, right effort. These things don't happen by accident. They're cultivated. They're good habits that are cultivated. I think in psychology we are taught that it takes 21 days to create a habit. I think they've actually measured this. It takes 21 to 27 days
really?
to change a habit. They've actually measured these things. And if it takes 21 days to create a habit that can last the rest of your life, whether it's smoking, drinking, speaking wrong, speaking things, exaggerations, lying, whether it's positive efforts on your part to become good habits, they are created and they are obliterated by what we do and what we think. So one of the greatest benefits I've received from ordination is to examine my life continually, daily. This is taught even at the extent of life and death. We're taught even to meditate on our own death. One of the greatest illusions that Westerners have, myself included up to a certain point, is that death is going to come to everyone but not me.
Right.
I'm going to live to 125 and die with all my
It's
grandchildren.
not something that's thought about or meditated upon.
And in Western culture, it's actually frowned upon. Death is something to be ignored or something not to be spoken about in public, even at funerals, when you go to Western funerals. And being an Italian American, weddings and funerals are very popular activities in my culture. You'll see how bodies are prepared with makeup. They don't look like anything they did in life. It's to make something as painful as death to some people to be as pleasant. The reality of life is that we are all going to die. And if we understand in the Buddhist precepts and the Dhamma, which teaches us to be mindful of these things. So one of the great byproducts I received after ordination as a Buddhist monk was training my mind in these areas, to contemplate my own death, to contemplate death, period. And that the only thing permanent about life is change itself. So being careful about the attachments that are made, the actions that I do, to be mindful of the things that are spoken and done are one of the greatest benefits anyone can hope to achieve, lasting benefits from ordination. You don't necessarily have to ordain as a Buddhist monk to be aware of these things, but to be involved as a monk where all distractions are removed from your life so you can focus on these timeless concepts is an incredible opportunity. It's life-changing.
Last time on tour of Phra Thamagai Temple, Vera took us to the land of Dhamma, in other words, the land where the facts of life unfold. Today we will follow her further to visit the main chapel, or Ubosot in Pali language. Here we would like to call it the Kingdom of Dhamma. Why so? Vera will tell you in the following edition of Tour of the Temple.
Sawadee ka. Hello and welcome back. My name is Vera Rungchagul, and today you're joining me on the tour of Wat Phra Thamakai in Pathum Thani, Thailand. Last week, we went to see the land of Dharma, known as the Ubosot. This week, we will go and listen to the awakening voice of Dharma. Can you hear the sound of the bells? 5 years ago, this place used to be the home of the bell tower of Wat Phra Thamakai, whose sounds could be heard during every Buddhist ceremony, and whose white reflection in the water reflected the purity of the Dharma. Each ring of the bell served as the voice of awakening to all beings in the samsara, known as the cycle of life. So follow me, and we'll take a closer look at this important structure. Nowadays, the bell tower is no longer here, but has been replaced by this pillar of light. Honoring the late founder of Wat Phra Thamakai, Kunyai Maharatana Ubasika Jan Konokyung, who spent her every waking moment teaching Vichā Thamakai, the Dharma of the Lord Buddha, to everyone, starting off first with Longpo Thamachayo, the current abbot of this temple. Her planting of the seed of Dharma in the heart of Longpo Thamachayo soon served as the motivation for the creation of Wat Phra Thamakai to serve mankind in search of peace and happiness. Her method of teaching was simple but profound, based on the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect. Her deep and meaningful words reached the heart of everyone, and her tireless efforts left its mark on this world. Without her, Wat Phra Thamakai would not exist today. This pillar of light is lit every evening to honor the memory of this gentle but fearless lady. Next to the pillar of light, we have the Mahavihan, Kunyai Ajahn Maharatana Ubasika Ajahn Khonnok Yung, a golden six-sided monument with a statue of Kunyai inside and with a green floor, symbolizing the prosperity of her teachings. So you might ask, why is this monument six-sided? Well, just as the sun's rays hit the side of the monument and spread light in all directions, so did Kunyai spread the teachings of Lord Buddha in all directions. Wouldn't you want to come and see this for yourself? Until next time. สวัสดีค่ะ
We hope this presentation aids many to bring forth the peace and virtues from within so that they can cope with understanding, accept, and overcome the difficulties and challenges of life. Until we meet again next time, สวัสดีค่ะ